Good? Let's stand for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
President Mr. Persing.
Here.
Vice President Mrs. Hovenstein.
Here.
Secretary Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Treasurer Mr. Griffiths.
Here.
Mr. Kashner.
Here.
Mrs. Scandal.
Here.
Mr. Shuey.
Here.
Mrs. Smoogen. Here. Mr. Sosnowski.
Here. Do we have any citizens' comments yet, Chris?
Well, just to let the citizens know, if you have any comments, you can email them to my email at cvenna@indians.k12.pa.us, or you can do it live on our YouTube site, which is streaming tonight's meeting. So we'll give a minute, because it's a delay, and see if anything comes in. So far, nothing. Okay, we don't have any. Yep.
Okay. Work session agenda.
I have a little presentation I'd like to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn everyone's attention to the PowerPoint. I just want to go over some information regarding cyber charter costs and the impact on our budget. And as you can see there, I have a little bar graph that I'll get into in a few minutes. Just some information about cyber charters. In 2018-19, total charter school tuition payments, and that would be your cyber and your brick and mortar charter schools, were more than $2 billion. To put that into perspective, that would pay the average salary of 29,700 teachers and is more than 3 times what school districts spent on providing students with career and tech ed programs. The cost of charter schools for school districts continues to grow, as we all know here in Shamokin area. Since 2007-2008 school year, charter school tuition costs have grown by more than $1.4 billion, which is a 229% increase, while the enrollments have increased by 112%. Pretty astonishing numbers there. If you take a look at that graph I have, the lime green is the costs, and the red line is the enrollments, and you could see the enrollments go up, but the one that really goes up is the cost to school districts. In Pennsylvania, we have 165 brick and mortar charter schools and 15 cyber schools. There are 137,000 students in those schools in the 18-19 school year. And keep in mind, charter schools are governed by privately managed boards of trustees that vary in number and who can set their own rules of operation. Charter trustees may have little or no connection to or accountability to the taxpayers in the community whose students they serve, and they may sit on multiple charter boards. And while it is true that the families of children who attend charter schools do not pay any tuition directly to the charter school or the cyber school, students attend charter schools at the public's expense. School districts are required by law to make a tuition payment to a cyber charter school for every student residing in the school district who enrolls in a cyber charter school. And that would include students who enroll in a cyber charter school and were previously homeschooled or attended a non-public or a private school. Even if the students were never enrolled in our district, we still have to pay for them. Specifically here at Shamokin area, we spend about $2 million a year on cyber charter tuitions. Each regular ed student costs us approximately $10,363, and each special education student costs $22,323. And if you take a look at that bar graph I have, from 2009-2010 school year and those 10 years starting with the 9-10 school year to the 18-19 school year, it's a 10-year window, our district has paid almost $12 million in cyber charter costs. And like I said, in the past year, we were around $2 million mark. Imagine what that money could have done with our budget. So when we're looking at the impact on our budget, it is definitely significant. If you look at the districts in our county, Northumberland County, and did a comparison of the percent of our budget that goes out to cyber charter tuitions, Shamokin area is at 6.3% of our budget goes to cyber charter tuitions, and that's significantly higher than our neighboring districts in Northumberland County, such as Shikellamy, Lime Mountain, Milton, Warrior Run, and Mount Carmel. And as you can see, the bar graph, our school compared to some of our other counterparts in Northumberland County, our bar is definitely much higher. So what can we do? We could reach out to your local legislators to let them know it's time for cyber charter funding reform. We can't keep up with the growing costs, and we can't continue to be forced to raise taxes and cut programs and services for our own students in order to pay millions of dollars to cyber charter schools. So something needs to be done. The $12 million that we spent in cyber charter costs over the last 10 years, or from, I think it was the 2008-2009 school year, imagine if those dollars were still in our district. We wouldn't have had to make some of the significant and very difficult decisions that we made last month and in the years past, and we wouldn't be looking at our budget shortfall that we'll be looking at this evening. So hopefully people reach out and contact your local legislators, and hopefully change is on its way. If not, we're not going to be the only school district in this category, because it really is an issue for all school districts in the Commonwealth. So just wanted to make everybody aware of that and give you a little bit of sense of cyber charter costs and how it impacts our budget. So thank you.
Chris, I do have a question.
Any questions?
I do. And maybe you don't know this answer, but the board members that sit on these cyber charter schools, are they a paid board?
I don't know the answer to that.
It'd be interesting to know their background.
I could find out. I'll find out and get you an answer.
The thing I don't agree with is we get these mandates, these non-paid mandates that we have to do, and, it kills us. And then we can't do it with this, the cost of these cyber schools, and these cyber schools and charter schools they must have one heck of a lobby that are lining pockets down there, and then we, here at local school districts, boards, have to make the tough calls of laying people off. I don't like it. I don't like having lay friends and family and, people you grow up with, and you write letters, you call down there, and nothing happens. And like I said last month, you had that guy from Muncie who has no clue telling us we have to get creative,
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that needs to be done.
Kind of my question too, like who sits on these boards and what's their, are they lobbyists? Are they socio-lobbyists, to get these funds shipped to their school? Getting the $2 million they got from the COVID money?
CARES?
CARES
Yeah.
money? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How did that happen? So
How are they
obviously
impacted?
they have some kind of connection somewhere.
It's definitely disheartening and a challenge for us.
And isn't it true, the fee we pay them is equivalent to what it costs us to educate a student at a brick and mortar school?
And it's also based on, with like special education students, the average cost. So
Even
if a
though they
student,
have none of the expenses that we,
in a case of a special education student who doesn't have maybe all of the needs that the average one does, it still costs us what the average one does. So definitely, we're hoping that something is done about this. And, you know, all we can do here is continue to do the best we can and, you know, reach out to our local legislators.
So let me get this, somebody has said there, if a kid goes to private school and then goes to cyber school, the public school pays for that kid to go to cyber school?
If a student was resided in the Shamokin Area School District and chose to go to a private school and never set foot in our building, and then decided to go to a cyber school, the bill then comes to us.
That's just not right.
That is correct.
You know, and then the kids that actually come here and do what they have to do are being penalized because we're sending our money to educate kids that we don't even have in the district, you know, here.
And we offer the cyber training here.
And we offer our own cyber school option for students,
Right.
and definitely we can do it at a significantly less cost.
And so everybody knows, we sent out letters.
We've done a lot with
To all
the
the-
cyber schools, just to keep you informed. We've reached out to students, we've gone to homes, knocked on doors. We sent out letters about a month ago with an incentive for students to come back from those cybers and join our option. And we're constantly looking for ideas and ways to make it better and to bring those students back, because I do think if we use, let's say, a Google Classroom as the mechanism to deliver instruction with our own teachers, I definitely would take, you know, the education our teachers are providing for the students over anybody else's options. So hopefully people are watching tonight's meeting and get the word out and maybe decide to come back to Shamokin area and look at the online option that we'll have for them.
For every 10 kids we get back, that's $100,000.
Every 10 students back is $100,000.
$100,000.
And the nice thing is if they.
Regular ed.
Regular ed. And if they come
Regular ed.
back to us,
Double.
the nice thing is they can participate in all the activities that we provide, and they'll receive a Shamokin area diploma when they graduate.
and under current law, if, even though we offer cyber education, students who reside in our district aren't obligated to attend our school.
That is
They still have the
correct.
option of going to other.
They have the option,
Which
and
is ludicrous.
I think a nice solution, if the school offers
Yeah.
online option, that the student would have to
Have to come here.
attend ours, or choose not,
Right.
then
And
pay.
If that happens, though, the problem is with that, if the schools offer it, cyber schools will be out of business, right? Because every school eventually would offer it.
Most schools already do.
You know, most schools do, right? Yep.
We also have to allow the students who go to cyber school to participate in all of our activities.
Yep.
So they play their sports area, be in the band, so not only are we paying the cyber school, giving them all the money we got for that student to educate them, then we're also paying extra then to have them in our activities.
So if there's any parents out there whose children are in cyber school and you're interested in looking at what we have to offer, please contact me, send me an email, contact your principal's office or business office, and we'd love to sit down and talk to you about the options and the bonuses of, you know, attending ours as opposed to attending an outside cyber program. We definitely want to work with all the students. Anybody have any other questions for me? Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
I do have one question
Okay, go
that
ahead.
came in on my email, and this is from Jared Petrovich, and I will just address that now. I will be calling Jared. If you're watching, Jared, I will call you when the meeting's over to give you an update. So he had a question on co-ops, so I'll give him a call and let him know what's going on, Jared. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay?
We
good?
Yep.
Okay, we'll get into the meeting. Go into old business. I need a motion to approve the board meeting minutes.
Motion.
On a question? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to authorize the payment of bills.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
Mr. Kashner.
Yeah.
Mr. Persing.
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to acknowledge student and/or staff accomplishments.
So moved.
Second. On a
Second.
question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I just add something
Go
before?
ahead, yeah.
I would like to congratulate all of our seniors, class of 2020 that graduated, and all of our award winners and honor students. I also want to congratulate our kindergarten graduates, class of 2032, and also thank all of our staff, faculty, admin, who helped in providing our kindergartners with kindergarten graduation and our high school students on all the work that went into providing them with a graduation. I thought the end of the year went really well, and it was a nice time for both of those groups, and in spite of the COVID. And I also want to thank the board for your support in allowing us to do some of those things for our kids, so thanks.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the list of the 2020 graduation candidates.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to adopt the budget resolution and tax levies for fiscal year 2020, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
Mr. Persing.
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yeah.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
I need a motion to adopt the revised policy.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
Mr. Persing.
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
I need a motion to charge tax collectors with 2020 tax duplicate.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mr. Persing.
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths. Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the payroll schedule.
Motion.
On a question? Roll call.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
Mr. Persing.
Yes. I need a motion to extend the work year for counselors.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein.
Yeah.
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
Mr. Persing.
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal.
Yes.
I need a motion to set prices for student breakfast and lunch for the 2021 school term.
So moved.
Second.
On a question?
On the question, I'd just like to point out that there is no actual cost to the student, as these lunches are reimbursed to the district.
Roll call.
Mrs. Smugin.
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein. Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey.
Yes.
Need a motion to approve all contracts, agreements for student services.
Motion.
Second.
On a question, roll call.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve school plans.
So moved.
Second.
On a question, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion to approve the service agreements.
Motion.
Second.
On a question, roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski.
Yes.
I need a motion to set prorated hours for business manager, federal programs coordinator.
Motion.
Second.
On a question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to designate signature representatives for federal funds.
Motion.
Second.
On a question, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve the submission of 2020-2021 federal budget application.
Motion.
Second.
On a question, roll call, please.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the athletic plan and designate representative.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to withdraw funds for retirements.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
No.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the exoneration request.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kashner, Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein.
yes,
I need a motion to approve reassessment and reduction of real estate bill.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mr. Persing,
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve to eliminate property tax penalty period.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mrs. Scandal,
Yes.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the junior high competition squad.
Motion.
Second.
On a question? Roll call.
Mr. Shuey,
Yes.
Mrs. Smugen,
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths,
Yes.
Mrs. Havenstein,
yes,
Mr. Kashner,
Yes.
Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal?
Yes.
I need a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding with the SAEA.
So moved.
Second?
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Smugian?
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths?
Yeah.
Mrs. Hovenstein?
yes,
Mr. Kashner? Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal?
Yes.
Mr. Shuey?
Yes.
I need a motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion.
Second?
On the question? Roll call.
Mr. Sisneski?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths?
Yes.
Mrs. Hovenstein?
yes,
Mr. Kashner?
Yes.
Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal?
Yes.
Mr. Shuey?
Yes.
Mrs. Smugian?
I need a motion to appoint the pandemic coordinator.
Motion?
Second.
On the question? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to schedule the July board meeting.
Motion.
Oh,
Second?
on the question? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to approve the veterans exemption request.
Motion.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffiths?
Yes.
Mrs. Hovenstein?
yes,
Mr. Kashner?
Yes.
Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal?
Yes.
Mr. Shuey?
Yes.
Mrs. Smugian?
Yes.
Mr. Sisneski?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to personnel agenda, guys. I need a motion to approve all personnel items in motion 8.01 through 8.10 as listed.
Motion. Second.
On a question? And we need a roll call.
Mr. Griffiths?
Yes.
Mrs. Hovenstein?
yes,
Mr. Kashner?
Yes.
Mr. Persing?
Yes.
Mrs. Scandal?
Yes.
Mr. Shuey?
Under 8.08, no on Sam Chicatano as assistant football coach at $3,042.
Mrs. Smugian?
No on 8.05 and 8.06. Reason being, and I want this to be a matter of the record, the individuals getting a raise there are getting $8,395 a year extra. And I don't think that's right. How much, which
No,
one?
the 8,000.
$8,395 for 1 year, an extra. I can see them getting what they're originally supposed to get. I can't see getting $3 an hour extra for their actual workday, which was changed up to eight hours a day. Or half an hour paid lunch in that.
Mr. Sisneski?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
I vote no on 805, 806, and 807, just because I believe $3 an hour is a lot. Well, I really appreciate them picking up the extra work. I just think that's a lot looking at our budget.
Okay, that's everyone.
Okay. Board members' reports. Anybody have anything to say? Who? Laura? go ahead.
I would just like to thank Mrs. Kumar for all her years of service and dedication to the district. She will be greatly missed.
I do.
I'd like to once again congratulate Abby Doss on continuing to bring honor and distinction to the Shamokin Area School District for her swimming abilities.
I just want to thank the administration for all they did for the graduations. This was a tough year to do it, and for what we did for the high school, I think was in the area above and beyond what any other schools were able to provide for the graduates. So I think administration did a great job coordinating all that, and then the elementary graduation, I heard that was fantastic as well. So I just want to say thank you to administration, technology people, everyone that made it possible for this to be a community event as much as it could be.
Agreed.
And I want to piggyback on what Mr. Venna said about the cyber schools. We're paying $2 million a year. We're at a $2 million deficit. So if we didn't have the cyber school bill, we could balance this budget every year standing on our head. Until we get rid of that cyber school or the rules change, we're going to be in trouble. We offer cyber school here at Shamokin School District. It doesn't cost us nothing. We sent letters out to all the participants in the cyber school with incentives to come back to our district, and I don't believe we got a response.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge, we didn't get a response, and we offer it here. So anybody out there that has any children on cyber school, please call Mr. Venna, see a board member, see anybody associated with the district, and we would love to have his back. Just remember, regular ed, every 10 kids we get back, that's $100,000. Special ed, if it's 10 kids, almost $250,000. I mean, we could balance this budget really quick with a little bit of help. That's all I got to say. Anybody else have anything to say? Okay. An executive session was held for personnel issues on Tuesday, June 16th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:20 p.m. prior to the regular scheduled board meeting. Nothing on the, no citizens comment, nothing was added. I need a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second? We're adjourned. Thank you.